My name is Emma, and I wish I could say my story was just a product of my imagination. But what I experienced in the Miller's mansion will haunt me forever. It was a stormy evening when I arrived at the old, secluded mansion on the edge of our small town. The house, a Gothic revival relic, loomed against the darkening sky, its spires and gables casting eerie shadows. I had been hired by the Millers to babysit their young son, Tommy, for the evening. Mrs. Miller, a slim, stern woman, met me at the door. She ushered me inside, giving me a brisk tour of the house. As we moved from room to room, her instructions were clear and concise. When we reached a thick wooden door near the kitchen, her demeanor changed. "That's the basement," she said, her voice low and serious. "Under no circumstances are you to go down there. It's off limits." "Understood." I nodded, feeling a chill run down my spine, though I couldn't say why. With a hurried goodbye, the Millers left, and I was alone with Tommy. I settled him into bed, reading him a story until his eyes drooped and he fell asleep. The house was eerily quiet, save for the occasional creak of its old bones. I settled into the living room with my homework, trying to ignore the oppressive silence. Then, the noises started. At first, it was just a faint, almost imperceptible scratching sound, like rats skittering behind the walls. But soon, it became louder, more insistent, coming from beneath my feet, the basement. I tried to ignore it, reminding myself of Mrs. Miller's stern warning. But as the night wore on, the noises became impossible to ignore. It sounded like shuffling footsteps, followed by low, guttural moans. My heart raced, and I glanced at the clock. Midnight. Unable to take it any longer, I decided to check on Tommy. I tiptoed up the stairs and peeked into his room. He was sound asleep, clutching his stuffed bear. I felt a little better, reassured by his peaceful slumber. As I returned to the living room, the noises from the basement grew louder. My curiosity and growing sense of unease battled with Mrs. Miller's warning in my mind. Finally, I couldn't stand it any longer. I had to see what was causing those sounds. I found the key to the basement hanging on a hook in the kitchen. With trembling hands, I unlocked the door and slowly descended the creaky wooden stairs. The air grew colder with each step, and a damp, musty smell filled my nostrils. At the bottom of the stairs, I fumbled for the light switch. Dim, flickering bulbs cast eerie shadows on the stone walls, revealing rows of old shelves and dusty boxes. The noises had stopped, and for a moment, I considered turning back. Then I saw it. In the far corner of the basement, partially hidden by shadows, was a large, iron cage. My heart pounded in my chest as I approached it, my flashlight beam trembling in my hand. Inside the cage was a figure, hunched and grotesque. It looked like a caveman, with matted hair and a beard that reached the floor. Its eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, and it let out a low, guttural growl when it saw me. I stumbled back, nearly dropping my flashlight. The creature was chained to the wall, its wrists and ankles bound by heavy iron shackles. Surrounding the cage were scattered bones, yellowed and brittle with age. My breath caught in my throat as I realized they were human skeletons. Panic surged through me, and I turned to run, but my foot caught on something. I tripped and fell, the flashlight skittering across the floor. As I scrambled to my feet, I saw the creature straining against its chains, its eyes locked onto mine. Desperation gave me strength, and I bolted up the stairs, slamming the basement door shut behind me. My hands shook as I locked it, my mind racing with what I had just seen. I grabbed my phone and dialed the police, my voice trembling as I explained what I had found. The dispatcher assured me that help was on the way, but the minutes felt like hours as I waited, my back pressed against the basement door. When the police arrived, they forced the door open and descended into the basement. I stood at the top of the stairs, too terrified to follow. Moments later, I heard shouts and the clanging of metal. The officers emerged, their faces pale and grim. The creature was taken away, and the Millers were arrested. The police investigation revealed a horrifying truth. The Millers had been luring people to their mansion for years, imprisoning them in the basement to feed the creature. The bones were all that remained of their victims. I never returned to the mansion after that night. The memories of what I saw in that basement still haunt my dreams, and the image of those glowing eyes is forever etched into my mind. The Millers' house now stands abandoned, a dark reminder of the horrors that lurk beneath the surface.